Good morning, class. Today we're going to be talking about where to find inspiration for your stories that we're going to be publishing in a couple of weeks. So, when other authors are trying to find inspiration for their stories, they can look to the people who they interact with, or the places that they've been, or the experiences that they've had in their life. We're going to watch a short video to find out other places that you can get inspiration.
How do writers get ideas? They make lists. About what? Anything. Memories that stand out, first times, last times, hard times, happy times, times with people. Times and places, funny times, scary times, hurt times, boring times, worst times, grossest times, stormy times, exciting times. I think you get the idea. Writers notice the stories hidden in their lives and list them quickly in a journal. Make a goal. Try to write a long list a day for a week.
Now, while you can employ some of those ideas, we are going to get some of our ideas from the story. So, you can use other books or magazines or TV shows to get some of your inspiration. Things that have already been created, you can get your inspiration from there as well. So, one of the biggest influences on writers is their family. Can you think of 3 silly stories about your family? What about 3 adventurous stories? How about 3 problem and solution stories? 3 random stories? That's already 12 stories you could write about for your publication. That's a lot of stories. Today we're going to read a story about another girl's family to make connections to remember some of our stories, because it's hard to remember some of our stories. We have a lot. So, making these connections is not only going to help us write about our family today, but we can use these connections to write poetry later, or one day write big scary high school essays, or in the super far future write college essays. We can use these connections to write about literally anything. So we're going to be able to use this for a long, long time. Finding inspiration and making connections is a very important skill. So, today we are going to read Too Many Tamales by Gary Soto. And we have already read this book before, so it should look familiar. So here is our first page. Okay. Snow drifted through the streets, and now that it is dusk, Christmas trees glittered in the windows. Now, when we are getting inspiration from other books, we can use anything in the book to help us get inspiration. The pictures, the words, the actual book, if that helps us remember, like the physical book, whatever helps you remember it all. So for me, I look at the snow, and that doesn't really help me remember my family because I live in Texas and there's no snow here. But Gary Soto said something about the trees that glittered in the window. And I know that during Christmas in my family, we always have a Christmas tree up in the window. And to get the Christmas tree there, we go as a family and go to a Christmas tree farm and chop down the tree. And then we take it back as a family, and we decorate it, and we drink eggnog, and my mom puts up all the lights, and then me and all my siblings put up the decorations, and my dad makes sure that it's standing and it's watered, and we all have our role, and we all work together, and it's a really fun time. And I could write a whole story about how we have Christmas trees in our window every year. And that's just one detail of the very, very first page. So let's see what else we have on the next page. Okay. Maria moved her nose off the glass and came back to the counter. She was acting like a grown-up now, helping her mom make tamales. Their hands were sticky with masa. Maria helped knead masa. She felt grown up wearing her mother's apron, and her mom even let her wear lipstick and perfume. If only I could wear Mom's ring, she thought to herself. On this page, I was also thinking about my mom's ring. Maria was looking at her mom's ring and admiring it. She was thinking, dang, that's a nice ring. And that made me think about how when I used to go to church with my mom, I would see her college ring, and I would play with it during church, and I would try to take it off and wear it, but it was always too big for me. And so then whenever I was going to college, I thought it would be very, very special to get my own ring, and now I have a college ring. So one detail of one page made me think about my life and made me remember a story about how I used to go to church with my mom and play with her ring. So it's a very small thing, but you can remember really big stories about your life from a very small detail. This page also talked about cooking and lipstick and tamales and aprons and hanging out with your mom. Does this make any of y'all think of stories about your family? Maybe the pictures make you think of something, the wreaths in the window, or the dresses that they're wearing. Does this remind you of anything about your family? Take 30 seconds to think and raise your hand if you have a story. Maria's mother placed her diamond ring on the kitchen counter. Maria loved that ring. She loved how it sparkled like their Christmas tree lights. When her mother left the kitchen to answer the phone, Maria couldn't help herself. She wiped her hands on the apron and looked at the back door. I'll wear the ring just for a minute, she said to herself. The ring sparkled on her thumb. Maria returned to kneading the masa, her hands pumping up and down. On her thumb, the ring disappeared, then reappeared in a sticky glob of dough. Her mother returned and looked at the bowl from her, and took the bowl from her. Go get your father for this part, she said. Then the three of them began to spread the masa onto the corn husks. Maria's father helped plop spoonfuls of meat into the center and fold the husks. He then placed them in a large pot on the stove. They made 24 tamales as the windows grew white with delicious smelling curls of steam. On this page, the author talks about Maria cooking with her father. And I used to bake cookies with my father during Christmas time. And I can remember him measuring out all of the ingredients in the measuring cups and handing them to me. And then I poured them in the bowl and we mixed it together. And we would spend all of Christmas Eve making cookies for Santa Claus. And it was a really nice time that my dad and I had. And I could tell lots of stories about all of the things that Christmas Eve happened after we made cookies. And that makes me think of lots of stories. What did this page make you think of? We talked about how the ring disappeared and how she got to go cook with her father and making tamales and some holiday traditions that they have. If you have holiday traditions like that, what are some holiday traditions that you might have? So I need everybody to think in your brain and then turn to a partner and share one of your stories that you thought of from this page. Raise your hand if you would like to share one of the stories that your friend has told you. So if they have a really cool story and you would like to share their story, raise your hand. Okay. A few hours later, the family came over with armfuls of bright presents. Her grandparents, her uncle and aunt, her dad, her cousins, Dolores, Teresa, and Danny. Maria kissed everyone hello, and then she grabbed Dolores by the arm and took her upstairs to play, with the other cousins tagging along after them. Alright, so I hope that everybody has stories now, because this is all about family. This page is all about your entire family. And so that should bring on all sorts of ideas. I would like each of your groups, each of your pairs, to find another pair to make a group of 4. And we are going to do an activity in our groups of 4. So either one of your stories that you came up with on this page, or one of the stories that you came up with on another page, I would like you to share with your group of 4 and talk about as many details as you can remember of that story. Then, using your graphic organizer, I'd like you to put the main idea of your story in the middle and then fill in the outside with some of the details that you can remember. This is the part that you need to use your group for, because you might have a hard time remembering some of the details, but if you have a conversation with your group mates about what happened, they'll help spark some of those memories. They'll ask questions. You need to ask your group mates questions about what happened. Who was there, what happened, where you were, what was going on, who all was a part of the activity. All sorts of questions you can ask your group mates. And you're going to fill in the detail bubbles with that information. If you need some help writing, you can go ahead and draw pictures in the bubbles instead, and we can fill in the writing later whenever we get to the outline process of our publication. I like that y'all are choosing to share such special stories with each other. Y'all are doing a really good job with that. On this person's, every bubble is a different person, which means every person has a different part of the story to tell the main story. That's a really cool idea. On this person's, they did pictures and words, so you already have your illustrations and your story. That's a cool idea. And this group did a really good job helping to brainstorm for each other. They helped remind each other of all the different kinds of traditions that they do. Alright, today we have found some different places for story inspiration for our publications. We have gotten to pick ideas from a storybook, and you got to pick ideas from your own past experiences, and you got to collaborate with your group mates